Akasan's honest answers, I guess, whatever. Alright, my man, you got some questions for me. Let me try to provide some elaborate answers.
What is your best memory of a video game?
Well, I got a few best memories that revolve around video games, but in terms of an actual video game itself, it was one of the first X-Men games that was put out on Sega Genesis, okay? And the game itself was pretty cool, side-scroller, you know, all that normal shit that was the thing back then. And there's this one level, like you think it's basically the end of the game, okay? And you're playing as whatever X-Men. And you're fighting this one dude, this really big fat guy with spider legs. I forget his name, but he's basically like kind of like this alien gamer programmer hacker type of dude, right? And you beat this dude, right? And there's only one exit to go out. Suddenly, the door slides down, boom, metal door, you can't get out. And there's a countdown because the whole world's about to explode that you're on. Basically, it's counting down, you don't know where to go, you're panicking because at first you had like 10 minutes or whatever, now it's getting down to 5, now it's getting down to 2 minutes, down to 1 minute. I start panicking, I start freaking out, I don't know what to do here, and suddenly it starts flashing right around 10 seconds. It starts flashing. Press the restart button on the Sega Genesis now. Press the restart button now. I'm like, what the fuck? So I take my finger and I push the button that nobody ever pushes unless the game's broken. You hit that reset button, a little white button, and suddenly you get the matrix code basically, 011011011. And then the theme song starts up again. Dun 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 dun. And I think to myself, oh shit, did I just restart this whole goddamn game? Nope. Goes to a whole nother title sequence here, and it basically goes into the next level, the next part of the game where you go fight Magneto and something like that. I forget the full story of it, but I just remember that was probably the most creative, inventive ways using the Sega Genesis and the restart button that I had ever seen, because I didn't even know at that point something like that could be done, and quite frankly I don't think anybody's ever attempted that since then. And then other video game memories had more to do with just the music and the memories that I carried with me throughout the rest of my life. A lot of them that comes to mind is Halo. The theme song for Halo was amazing. Just dun 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 dun. If that doesn't get you hyped, I don't know what will. Going into any sort of battle, I actually saw them perform it live at the Hollywood Bowl. It was a big orchestra stuff. I almost got in a fight with this fucking. Oh, this dude was fucking talking shit the entire time. Real nerd shit. You know how they like to leave commentary and shit. And they didn't understand it was like a real, like, orchestra type of thing. You know, people were wearing suits and you're just supposed to sit and enjoy the music. And these dudes were just clowning in the back. So I got up and I was like, yo, you can be quiet or I'm gonna make you be quiet. And like, they got so fucking scared. And my friends had never seen that side of me. I got real mad niggerish on them. I was just like, I'm a fucking, like, this is a fucking orchestra. Please respect the music. Shut the fuck up. And I just sat down, and everybody around me was like, all these white people were just like, yeah, they didn't want to applaud, but they were just like, yeah, okay. That black guy's going to save us. That black guy's gonna speak up for us. Other than that, another one that really got to me was always the Kingdom Hearts titles, because especially with my relationship with Japan and Utada Hikaru, and just the way at that time the games I was playing and the music I was listening to actually matched a lot with what's going on in my life. Traveling to Japan, back and forth, and especially Final Distance and Hikari. It's called Hikari. You know, when you walk away, you don't hear me say. And it was like just a beautiful sort of thing to always hear that music in Japan and know where that kind of related to. I always felt that there was a certain magic of that Square Enix put together, Square Enix and Disney put together with Kingdom Hearts that still stands strong today. Every time I hear that theme song and every time I see something from Square Enix, it really pulls at my heartstrings.
Which do you prefer, Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox?
No Dreamcast? Shit. So I'm not a big fan of brand wars or comic labels or company brand, all that siding bullshit, right? But I will say the one that I tend to go to a lot, now that the Dreamcast is kind of said and done, the one that I've just been going to for the most part has been PlayStation, and that's more or less just because of the functionality that it had as not a game system, but just entertainment system. I got the PlayStation, the first PlayStation, because I needed a CD player. I got the PlayStation 2 because I needed a DVD player. And then, of course, I got the PlayStation 3 because I needed a Blu-ray player. So, and of course I keep the PlayStation 4, well, just because it's badass. So, it's just those reasons, like, Sony's always been really good for me at making sure they had what was actually convenient. I remember getting an Xbox and I was like, what the hell is HD DVD? And not a lot of people supported it, so I always grafted toward PlayStation. I do prefer sometimes the controller of the Xbox for certain games, just certain games, but overall, just I've always felt like PlayStation has always kind of had things in line for me. That being said, I don't mind owning both, but I just don't. I have a PlayStation 3, a PlayStation 4, and an Xbox 360. I had to buy a few of those, Red Ring of Death, but it is, I'm fine with both of them, but I just don't use the Xbox as much anymore because I pretty much primarily just played it for Halo, and that's kind of a sad excuse to get. I actually had to order the Xbox 360 Slim from a US base and have it delivered to me here in Japan, and I basically played Halo Reach, and that was it, and then it started collecting dust. Sad times. Sad times.
What was the very first gaming console you played? What was the game?
God damn. I mean, technically the first one that I actually played must have been the Atari. It must have been the Atari way back when my teacher in elementary school actually had it, and I remember I was playing what I think was Spider-Man, and it was just like red and blue pixelated spots, and I was climbing up the wall, real simple shit, right? And I remember it was cool, but it just wasn't really much to do, right? And then somewhere toward the line, I ended up getting a Nintendo for Christmas or something like that, and obviously I played the first, the Super Mario Brothers, and I went through all that, and I remember almost beating Super Mario Brothers with my friend. But back then, that's when we had those switches, like those kill switches, like your light switch controlled like the extensions, the plugs and shit, right? So I remember we were just about to beat Mario Brothers. And see, you gotta remember, there weren't checkpoints in games back then. If you lost that game, if you stopped that, turned off, you had to start all the fuck the way over from the beginning of the level. So I remember about to play it and beat it, and we were getting to the bad boss guy, and my brother, little ass brother, came in and he was like, "Fuck you, nigga! Fuck you, nigga!" Hit that switch. Oh my god, me and my friend, we just look at each other, we're just like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna legally kill him, and the judge is gonna let me off. Yep.
What is your favorite video game of all time that makes you say, wow?
It's weird because for me, I live in the moment for the most part, and I actually don't like buying video games because I play it once and I really rarely ever go back again to play, unless it's like a fighting game or something that is fun with a lot of friends to play. I just don't go back to play a game, and even with like multiplayer type of games, I don't like playing, especially because the lifespan on some of those is like a year or so, and then a new version comes out. Looking at you, Call of Duty. So that being said, living in the moment, you know, some of my all-time favorites obviously was Halo 2 because of just how different it was compared to the first. But the first Halo was really good too, but just Halo 2, it was yeah, the ending sucked, but yeah, that was good. Older games, again, that X-Men game, I think though, if I'm living in the moment now, it has to be the Batman series, the Batman Arkham Knight series, because that's the only game and series that I go and I actually rush out to buy a game nowadays. Like other stuff I can kind of wait. Assassin's Creed I used to like a lot, and I was kind of crazy about that one. Same with Gears of War, but as the franchise just kept on putting too many out for me at the same time, just putting them out too much at a time, it started to dilute the feeling that it was something special.
I suppose you want me to say I've always loved you.
So I would have to say, because it's concluded now, the Batman Arkham Knight story, it's still that city and just Asylum, all of them together made a great story and really made things interesting for me. There was a long time ago, there was this one game that came out, I believe, on the Dreamcast, and it was a first-person shooter, but you also had like psychic powers, and it was actually kind of done like a TV show. The cutscenes were done live, and you had these psychic powers or something, and like that was actually a pretty engaging game. I just don't remember the name of it anymore.